we are representing, ladies and gentlemen, first back-to-back episode. Okay, Between Two Hats podcast. Your hosts Patrick Osman and Phillip Burton, and we are blessed with not another guest, but the same guest, but a second episode of the blessed guest, the man himself, Dan French, the one and only, half Irish, half Italian,
Half
sh-
amazing.
from
No,
from
that's
the
right.
Bronx. This guy is from the hood to the good. He's from the bait to the great. He's from, I don't know where
Ashy
he's
to
from, bro.
classy. Yeah.
Zero to
So
hero.
look,
Well,
zero to hero, brother. What do you want? What do you want?
we're
This guy's the
making
goat.
history today, so it's great to be back to back. Let's go, run it back.
But let's
Buddy,
just run it
this
back.
is awesome. Like, we've talked this game a lot with folks because we've had some great guests, of course, but this is the first one we've run back, and I'm super excited. Like, getting ready for this today, I was thinking, man, this is new uncharted territory for us because we kind of have a game plan of, the one and done, and now we're getting to run it back. So yeah, I love it. So you couldn't be a better guy to help us check that box off. So
Oh, greatly appreciate it. And we had so much fun talking on Friday. It was like we didn't want to really stop, but then
I mean, that's
we
the
didn't
truth,
want to
right?
stop.
your time
Nope.
booked. So we could just now we're here. So
We want to run it back. So look, this is the situation at hand. Situation at hand is this. Before we get into continuing the conversation, we're going to spruce it up. I noticed that Northpoint had a bit of a shift in their logo. Is that correct?
right here. Yeah.
So is that the new logo? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're representing Northpoint gear today. So why don't you tell us a bit about Northpoint?
Yeah, behind
and-
that shift and et cetera.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
so I want to hear about Northpoint, okay, and then I want to hear. Actually, no, not want to hear about Northpoint. I want to hear about the logo because we're going to get into Northpoint throughout your career, right? Give me the logo shift. Why is it where it's at right now?
Oh, I wish there was a better story. I mean, honestly, I can't claim anything to do with this one or any credit. I really like it. I think it's well done, but it was in flow before I got to Northpoint. And then
Oh,
it was a website refresh as well. Was already being coordinated before I joined. Yeah. So it just was great timing where we have this framing of like, all right, we're Northpoint 2.0. We're a 20-year-old startup. And then concurrently, they were already doing this good work of website redev and logo refresh, and it just worked. It's coming together.
and for me, it looks like a mountain in Utah, and there's different pieces to the puzzle. That's
Like
different
climbing
pieces to the mountain.
to the mountaintop.
Yeah, and you've been adding growth to that mountain as it's been putting pieces to coming together, I guess.
I like that. No one explained to me a story behind it, so we can just do. Yeah,
Oh, let's
that's
make
our
one
story.
up.
Oh yeah, that's it. Hey, listen, we're a bunch of sales guys at the end of the day, right?
Thank you.
Let's put
Don't-
it together. Phil, what's
don't
your
invoice.
what's your story? Look at his hat and create a story. Go for it.
Oh God, what am I going to write about Northpoint in the mountains? I mean, growing up in Utah, you'd always look at the beautiful Wasatch Mountains and all these mountains around you, and you just say, "Hey, man, that's where I want to live because that's where the peace happens, brother." Up in those mountains, there's just nothing but peace and harmony and tranquility, and I feel like that's what Northpoint is. You come work with them, and your life gets easier. Everything is peaceful. Come to the mountains of Northpoint. There you go, baby.
Hey man, let's go. I'm
The
you know,
view is always better at the top.
Oh, right, guys,
That's
this is
it.
all free. Let's just make that very clear. No,
Yeah. I want to show you this. This was Pat's original logo, but he decided not to go with it. He's like, I can't use a self-portrait, so that'd be too self-serving. So that was his original.
Oh man, that's hilarious, bro. No, that's sweet, man. So you're repping some Northpoint swag. Well, we look forward to hopefully having some owners out there that are listening to this podcast, and today they're gonna learn more about you, Daniel French. They're gonna learn more about your history, and now you're the COO of Northpoint. So we're gonna dive into, bro. You're running as a mayor for a town in North Albany.
well, New York State, in between Albany and New York City. So like
In
still,
between Albany and New York State.
yeah, really part of the New York City metro still. I mean, it's,
Okay. Yeah.
Pick
No
up
blue.
there and keep walking us through the process.
Yeah.
Because that, when
And
you
then
left
from
off
there-
there, I was like, I need more. I got to hear about
Hey,
it.
yeah.
This is like the one part of the downs, the peaks and valleys. This is like a valley, where I got my butt kicked. Remember this? I ran for county executive. I was mayor. I ran for county executive. Got my butt kicked by 20 points. That was November of
Well, they
2011.
pulled the switcheroo on you too. You're coming in against the
Yeah.
incumbent, right? Like, I'm going to take this old guy down and then
Right.
put in the young buck. the hitter.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bait and switch. So I was completely like, thrown off, but I was so committed to it. I just kept going, and I don't regret it because it opened up the door for me for God, really. I think I believe that I was meant to find my true vocation, which is to be in the private sector, to be in this system of capitalism and building companies.
100%.
Really kind of, I always consider myself like a founder type, even though what I'll tell you in a minute is that I joined a company that was founded by my good friend growing up and my business partner that was doing this real estate. Remember, I was saying we
Yep.
bought small deals, we got completely twisted, and the GFC almost kind of melted us. We made it through, and through pure grit and determination, all this stuff. But the happier part of the journey is that my friend, who is became my remained my business partner, let's say, right? He got out of Harvard Law School in 2010. By 2011, when I had lost my election in November, he already had like crazy momentum going, like small, still buying smaller deals, but now we're buying 50 unit, or he was buying 50-unit deals. And I had been visiting with him a couple times during my campaign. I would kind of escape to Florida just for a reset. I was like, wow, man, this dude is onto something very big. And I almost felt like some parts of me were like, well, maybe I want to lose this election. You know what I mean? So I don't miss out on that journey down in Florida. And of course, being Apex, you never really let that thought get your head. You just kind of go.
Yeah, you
Give
can't
it
you
every
can't let one
So,
go on purpose,
No,
right?
you
But it's
give it
hard.
everything you got. Even though I
Yeah.
knew the polls were like, this, I'm probably going to lose. I gave it everything I had to the very end of it. I put my own personal money into it. I went for total broke. I exhausted myself doing that, but that's what it takes to, if someone partners up with me, I want them to know, or if they give me a donation or a campaign donation, or if they invest money with me, I want them to know I'm going to go to the ends of the earth on that deal. I'm going to go kill myself over it before I give up. It's like total Goggins mentality. It's like,
There
you
you
bet
go.
I'm never gonna lose heart. I'm just gonna keep this thing going. I'd rather wear myself out and just go bury me before I give up. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that kind of the truth though with I think most successful people outside of businesses that are true academia, like let's say you have to be a doctor, brain surgeon, maybe attorney, something like that, where it's really academia that sets the bar. Outworking the smartest people in the room is usually that litmus test for the most successful people, because
Right.
you're a smart guy, Dan, don't get me wrong, but that grit, which we talked about earlier in this podcast, if I'm not mistaken, it's come up in many layers before. Grit sets you apart from everybody else. And I think with that, if you have that built into you and probably instilled from your parents and some of the examples you gave, that will trump, anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, what I love about it is that it's the thing most under your control, your power.
Right.
Like that's your work ethic and your drive. To some extent, like, there's always gonna be someone smarter, better looking, more outgoing, what have you, better connections, better family network, whatever,
Stop,
they have all
stop
the
picking
stuff.
on Pat. Like, why do you pick on
Yeah,
Pat right away?
I'm
We're
describing
only
Pat.
5 minutes
He's
in
more
and you're highlighting
beautiful.
Pat's entire life. Like, come on.
Yeah. He's got all that wealth from his family from forever ago,
Here it is. Yeah. Easy
and
street. Never had to deal with
silver
any
spoon.
challenges. Born with a silver wallaby in his mouth. Yeah.
We envy you, Pat. You've had it all given to you, but
He
I'm
wants
kidding.
to murder me. I could
Yeah.
see it.
I'm
So,
staying quiet. I'm
yeah,
chilling.
yeah, it's shown. So I joined in Florida. I moved I just got engaged, which is part of the story, right? Big part in August of 2011, and I lost my election in November. I moved down to Florida like in December, late December. So that was kind of wild because my now wife of 13 years didn't really know me as much as a real estate focused individual. I was having split, like I had a real estate, still with some holdings that we're working through, but I was really in public service mode. And that's how she met me. And I know she really loves me because I was broke. So
Yeah. It's a great test.
I had
So
no
let me
money.
ask you a question. So your boy in Florida, he's got how many doors at this stage?
Under 1,000 for sure.
Okay. So
Maybe
and did he have you given him money yet or not yet?
no. Well,
No.
on our prior partnership, I'd invested in our prior partnership on these deals down there. I didn't give him any money. I didn't have any money. I
Okay,
was
cool. So he
broke.
raised capital what? Friends, family?
friends and family, then ultra high net worth,
Okay. So
massive
then
check. Massive check.
he's raising money and
Yeah,
he's
he had
picked up some
100
some
million of
doors.
yeah, he had 100 million of
Mhm.
discretionary capital
Okay.
that was committed to him right before I got there. So then he started buying deals right as I arrived, like bigger deals, 300 unit deals, 200 unit deals. And I
Okay.
arrived then just as a teammate, not
How
even
did you sell your wife that you're now gonna fuck politics? I'm moving into real estate. I need you to trust me on this, even though I have no experience. How did that conversation look like?
And the physical move too, right? You're leaving,
That's a
upstate New
whole nother
York,
conversation.
and then
Yeah,
you're going to
exactly.
Florida. Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is a
yeah.
big.
I mean, well,
Yeah.
I mean, number one,
How did that look like?
she's a total champion. I mean, she's a down for the she just believed in me and she was down for the cause and down to be adventurous too, I would say. Like, if you're going to select a wife or a spouse, let's say, you want someone who has like massive belief in you, So even if you can't describe what's in your heart exactly, why do I know this is such a good fit? It didn't make sense. The same person that we kind of went through this big problems with and almost lost everything. Now I'm gonna go join this person. And even my mom and other people in my life were like, why are you doing this? But my fiance at the time never said that. She was just like, okay, if you believe in this and this is what's good for us, let's go.
That's
And so
beautiful.
we did that multiple times. We went from Tampa to Austin to Bellevue and back to Austin. So she really just
Mm.
kept in the path the whole time. And great credit to her. I owe her a big debt.
And great credit to you for providing, that environment for your wife to be able to trust in you. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And I think that leaders and men like you go unnoticed from that perspective. And I resonate with what you're saying. I remember when I moved to America. Hey, Phil, I can hear my voice. I don't know for a fact it's from your microphone. Brother, could you just do something? You did something last time and it worked.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you so much.
Sorry,
Um,
bud.
so when I moved to America, I had a startup in Australia and it was 10:30 in the morning and I just made a couple sales that day. Well, we were doing about between 45 to 60 grand a month in gross revenue on this startup. And it was just me and Kiara and we had some offshore employees. And it was 11 a.m. and I walked up to her and she was having the shower and I said, "Hey, I've got a question for you." She said, "What's up?" I said, "Look, I said, is this it? Is this the finish line? Like, is this what we're doing for the rest of our lives?" She said, "I don't know. Like, what are we doing?" And I said, "We need one product to sell the whole country. Okay, what's our population? 27 million, Australia. 1% of the population is not going to help us. But
Mm.
if I sell 1% of America, we're going big. Are you down to move to America? 338 million." She said, "I'm down to follow you wherever you go." And that
Wow.
was the end of it. She didn't ask me what industry. She didn't ask me who I know. She didn't bank on my resource. Nothing. She didn't qualify. She's like 100% trust in you, Pat, to drive this family.
Yeah.
And I made some calls, and I ended up, in Pennsylvania 6 years ago, which then obviously led me to here. What I'm getting at is I relate to your story, and I relate to the environment that you built for your family.
Yeah, absolutely. And right back to you. What's interesting is for, Gen Z today, or if you think about this whole concept of home ownership and where you kind of set roots down, I think that was also in our heart was that we were in a place called Dutchess County, which is in New York. So everyone thinks of like New York City. They understand that. Then they understand Westchester County is like a very wealthy, affluent suburb, the inner ring suburb, very close to Manhattan. And then there's another small county called Putnam, and then you're in Dutchess.
Yeah.
Dutchess used to be a center of IBM in the 90s. And then,
Wow.
yeah, 93 was when they made a massive layoff. And then the job count there just never recovered.
Got it.
It came on a downward trend forever, and then it stagnated. So when you find yourself in a stagnant environment, what should you do? You should leave for better, greener pastures. I basically that's what I did.
100%.
That's what Gen Z needs to figure out. Like instead of me being so adamant, like, oh, I can't afford a home and woe is me, you should just pick up and move to Austin, or Phoenix or Dallas, where they just
Right.
had a lot of things in the Wall Street Journal today. But this is well known. The best deals in the country are in the most attractive places to live from a dynamic economic standpoint. So you
Mm.
should move your life from a low growth, stagnant area to Phoenix, to Austin, to Charlotte, to Dallas, because you're gonna get 2 months free in your rent in a brand new apartment. It's like, guys, don't worry about your home ownership. You'll get that. You'll get that later if you put yourself in an
Is
environment.
home ownership a win?
No, broadly speaking, no, it's not.
Home
That's
ownership is not a win. You know what? If you bought in the 70s and the 80s, yes, you won. Congratulations. But is home ownership a win today, really? Like it's like factor in property taxes alone. Factor in property taxes, factor in interest rate, factor in that you got shit tenants who are going to break everything. Is home ownership a win?
for your domicile. I would argue no. And actually, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is everyone's Bible, he talks
Yeah.
about this in the book. It's very contrarian, and it's still contrarian because we have attached home ownership equals American dream, and that is a broken coupling. We should not couple those two things. I
It's
would
almost, and I don't know if I can draw this comparison, but I'm going to try. Going back, and I forget what the 50s, 40s, whenever the diamond ring, De Beers made that a thing, and then they controlled the diamond industry, right? Diamonds are worthless, truly worthless. There are more diamonds out there in that they control and surplus and hide from us so they can create an artificial value. We as people have put the value on that diamond because we say, I want that ring on my wife's finger, or I want to wear, the earrings or
We create
whatever.
the value, yeah.
Yeah, we've created
for sure.
a completely arbitrary thing for what a diamond means. Home ownership is the same. Now the physical asset itself is great. If you want to buy a home and you can't afford it, it's a good thing for you, but it is not an asset. It's a liability in reality. Yeah. And your money can do way more things for you than tying it up in that home, especially with our younger folks that have access to, all these cryptocurrencies and all this other stuff that's happening.
Yes.
And it's hard to preach that to them because society has beat that into them that you got to buy a home, you got to buy a home. And man, it's not for everybody. Not that having the feel, and we're going to, this sounds like a setup, guys, right? But to have that feeling of a home, you can go rent one and have the same thing now with BTR and all these communities that you guys manage and run and build. You can raise your children in a home environment and go make a bunch of money for them to hand them later if that's your goal, then drop it into a house. So
No, so well said. I mean, for sure, asset ownership is what you want to do, but that doesn't mean you need to couple asset ownership with shelter. Like
yeah,
where you have your
domicile. I think you said it a
yeah,
minute ago.
domicile,
Yeah.
because when you stroke a big down payment for your house, that money has a high opportunity cost, especially when you're young. The opportunity cost is that you can invest in yourself to run a business, or you can go invest in cryptocurrency or whatever you're close to that you feel very confident is going to do well. The returns are probably going to be greater than your home, which is going to be a liability in most cases. The capex of it, the property taxes,
Did
insurance, like
Daniel, do you own your own home?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not preaching what I
Phil,
practice.
Phil,
I'm
do
not.
you own your own home?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Okay. I own my own home too. Ah, let's let's
But
let's just let's just let's just call a spade a spade. 1 second. Let's just call a spade a spade. Why did we all buy? I'll start. I bought purely from an egotistic perspective. Okay. Let me tell you why. I
bingo.
bought from an egotistic perspective because I didn't appreciate the fact that I am going. You telling me I can't drill a hole in my wall? Shut the fuck up. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna
sure.
drill a hole in my wall, right? I don't appreciate the man standing above me saying you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this and you can't do that. If my wife wants a fucking horse, I'll get a fucking horse. That's how it's gonna work. That's the reason. Now, that's everything I'm saying is all illogical. It's all illogical. It's all emotional.
It's
It
control.
goes like it's control, right? That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's why I bought a home. I'll pass the microphone on to Daniel now. Daniel, why'd you buy a home?
Look, I'd be lying if I didn't say there's some of that there.
Okay.
Okay, but because you want to like be in charge of your own destiny, right? I don't want to pick someone non-renews me in a year. I'm like, what? No, I
Yeah.
want to stay here. Like, get out of here. So absent though having kids,
Mm,
I think I would be very comfortable doing an upscale rental, like no problemo.
100%.
Because then actually, I might be a citizen of the no. I'll probably be a nomad. I'll probably go live in cool towns. I might live in London for a little while. I might live in Spain. I might live in South America.
there you
I
go.
don't whatever. I'll go wherever. And I'd rather do that if it was just me and my wife. But having kids makes you planted. Yeah, you want to plant in a school district with friends and
For
neighbors, and
sure. That's
that's
that's the big differentiator, I think, is your demographic. Being a family or having kids does change that evaluation or whatever, because it's still not a
right.
good value for us in where we could put our money, but it does change the framework of why we're doing it. And that, I mean, I wish I knew the stats. I'd probably look it up, but how many, families there are in the US, like people that are families, the rest of the US could really benefit from being educated on what home ownership means and what it doesn't mean for them, because you're not making that decision based on creating this family environment.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I think about this too. Like,
Why did you buy a home, Phil?
well, ego, 100%. I'll tell you right now. Two things.
You have
I'll
an
go
ego?
back to that. What's that?
You have an ego? No way. Come on, you.
I know. I mean,
If-
look at me though.
Oh,
Like,
it's bullshit.
obviously, as good looking and fit as I am, it's like you would think I wouldn't need to worry, but I still do. I, you know, for me, and I'll try to be brief about this, but and I've shared this on other podcasts. My whole life was keeping up with the Joneses, and it was mostly to show my dad that I was worthy enough, because I grew up around really high net worth people, big network people. My dad was always a worker, but he was always really good with money. And so I always saw what they had. And my dad didn't idolize those people because he got his the way he got it. But I was around these folks that had a lot. And I was always wanting to show my dad that I could do what they did, because I think he thought that was the pinnacle of success, right? Money, you know, he who dies with the most toys wins kind of thing. And so I always chased the money instead of what I really wanted to be doing. And it wasn't until many years ago that I made that change. But when I started getting money, and that's ebbed and flowed, I've been very wealthy. I've been very broke. I've been very wealthy. I've been very broke. With where we're at now, this was a check the box of, I'm going to buy the compound. I'm going to buy the home. I'm going to plant my flag for my family, for my daughter and my son at the time. My boys are older. And so I put $500,000 down on this house and bought this big dog, and, you know, and I love it. I will die here. I don't care if I won $100 million, $1 billion. I would just make this house bigger, in this area. But it was all ego. Looking back now, what's funny is the things that enter my mind a lot are when I'm driving to Whole Foods, our new Whole Foods down the street. They built this really cool apartment right next to it, and there's this one unit on the down floor that's right by the outside ping pong table and the fireplace and the outside table. I'm like, I could live there. I wish I could just rent that as an office so I could just hang out there. So in my mind, when the kids are a little bit older, I will want to be that transient kind of urban, just live there for a year. That doesn't fit me anymore. I want to go live over there now.
Yeah. Same. Totally. So should I keep going on my Florida story?
Sorry,
please.
sometimes Phil
Oh, it's
doesn't
good.
shut
It's
up.
good.
That's the
Oh,
problem
boy.
with
You're
this
doing
podcast.
a PSA for home,
Yeah.
Oh,
home
boy.
ownership.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, so look, I joined.
Phil, that wasn't a micro desk, bro. Seriously, it's just
Yeah, I'm true. I'm just glad you guys are real. I thought I was talking to myself this whole time.
yeah.
We're a simulation.
Yeah. So go for it, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, we relocate down there. And I joined as a teammate, not as a partner initially. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm going to prove myself here. And we were just in high growth mode, massive, deployment of capital. And this is like after the GFC. So a lot of it in Florida, people forget this. I think it may be Phoenix too, but Texas had a different experience of the recession, of coming out of the recession, because they had the oil shale boom at the same time. So it wasn't as severe in Texas as it was in Florida. Florida was like a forgotten state. Many people thought it was going to have a lost decade of, it was very tourism driven economy at that point. It wasn't quite as dynamic as, not nearly as it is now with all the drivers of economic growth there. So we were betting on something that a lot of people they were scared to go back into. They lost their shirt there. They had left the properties for dead, many of them, right? And especially in class C and B that we were doing. And we became like value add experts. We became experts at being the first in capital back into a neighborhood and bringing it back up to even habitability. Like these are the places where people would rip out the copper out of the air conditioning units, and we bought many of them that were 0% occupied, completely left for dead. Just severe turnaround. So that's my other DNA, where it's like speed of execution, scrappiness, finding the vendors, moving like lightning, trying to work your way with code, even though code's kind of at odds with you a little bit, obviously. And those are some other stories for you guys I can give you a different time. But just, I was very proud of a lot of those early efforts, because we were helping to turn around communities and bring them back up for the dignity of the people that live there. And we did a good job for our capital too. Like we made a lot of money on that trade. So that was when I started.
Did you guys fix any of those apartments, or were they all just type Bs, type As, and you just rode inflation? And Rate
No,
appreciation.
it's B and C heavy renovation, like what you'd call value add.
No way.
Yeah, very heavy, like very
So it was
heavy.
all value add, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Wow.
Later
Got
to
it.
trade up into the B stuff.
Well,
No,
that's
so you saw
there's
that.
your rich dad, poor dad ABCs of real estate investment, right?
Mm.
Value add.
Yeah.
Buy a deal that fits your pro forma, but look
Yeah.
at the value add play.
Yeah, we're buying things that are not available anymore, right? Like 10 caps, 12 caps. Like there was really no NOI at some of these places because they were just completely gutted or literally left for dead. Bank owned assets, many of them, right? So it comes on the balance sheet of the bank. The bank wants to get it off, and we buy it from the REO schedule, and we turn it around and then flip it. And then over time, we kept growing. We bought about 17,000 apartments in that deal.
Where do people
Holy cow.
find those
Yeah.
distressed assets now? They want to go and buy them.
I think, I looked at a couple in my year between leaving that firm and joining Northpoint. They're there, man. They're there. They're just the attractiveness of the basis that you can get in isn't near what it was after the GFC. So your downside protection, in my opinion, wasn't really as attractive. In other
Mhm.
words, pricing didn't fall far enough. It
Yeah.
fell, but didn't fall far enough. For the
Yeah.
execution risk you have to take on to get the thing back up to where you want it to be and then trade out of it.
And you can't just look in the sexy areas anymore, right? You got to look where the deals are. The deals are where they're at, not where you want them to be. So you
Yeah.
have to have an open mind to finding deals that are outside of maybe your comfort zone of geography and being and then also too, I think what's important is have the know-how and the ability to say, hey, that might be too far from our geographic location or something we can manage and oversee, right?
Yep. And the other thing is like, where I was looking is Austin, Texas. I wanted to be able to, if I was going to go sponsor a deal on my own, I wanted to be able to go out and touch it every day if I wanted to. I didn't want to have to fly to it or drive to it.
Right.
3 hours to Dallas or whatever. I wanted to be able to say like, hey, to my capital partners, if I need to go take this thing over myself, I will, And Austin's
Sleep
a
on
tough
that mattress, baby. Sleep in that unit.
Yeah,
like
I
you
will.
did.
I'll go back to my roots. I don't give a shit. Like,
That's huge.
You can't. That's one thing that you can't take the hood out of someone. You can't, because if they've come from the worst, and I'm speaking from experience, right? If they've come from the worst, I didn't grow up homeless. I'll tell you that much. No, I grew up in a middle class family, right?
Yeah.
But bro, if you bring a milk crate right now, and I'll break bread with anyone. I don't give a fuck who it is. It comes down to the content of the person's character. You know what I mean? And that's how I was raised.
Well, think
With
about you, Pat.
respect.
You would jump in your call center and get on the phones if you had a person out and it meant your clients getting the service that they're used to getting. You're on those phones taking calls if there's no one
Bro, I
else
was
to
on the
sit in
phone.
that
I was
seat.
on the phones last week.
Yeah.
I was in the call center last week. I was there last week, right? You do whatever you got to do. You do whatever you got to do. There's no I'm a C level and my shit doesn't stink, bro. Shut the fuck up, right? If you're the true C level, you're down to C at any level. That's what it comes down to.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah. So
Dan,
that was
much of sorry, I just have a question too. How much of that history you have in the grit and the drive when you're talking, and you're a money guy too now, but like the money guys, your investors, the people putting up the money, most of them haven't swung a hammer. They haven't slept on a unit. They have money and they're investors, right? They don't know the dirt and grit. But how much does that add to your credibility when those folks are talking to you and you can say, yeah, I've done this when it got tough? I mean, I got to imagine that's a big part of the comfortability and the
He
trust.
probably doesn't raise his hand and say he does it. He probably just asks them one question and they shit themselves and think, fuck, he's done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that was going to be my response was like, people who are stewarding capital, they're typically very shrewd and they get pitched a lot,
Sure.
You guys know you're both rich guys now, right? But no, I'm kind of kidding, not kidding.
I wish,
like,
bro.
once
I
you have
still
money-
owe Phil like $50 from the last loan he gave me.
Oh,
This
yeah, we
check
got
keeps
paid back.
bouncing.
Well, look, when you get it's so backwards in the world. It's like the more high up you get, the more opportunities come your way, the easier it is.
Yeah.
The banks want to lend you money, people want to show you deals,
Oh.
everything becomes easier. It's like
The first million is the hardest, right?
yeah, it's the opposite day. It's opposite days. So these people become very savvy when you're stewarding capital. If it's your own or on behalf of other people, you become very savvy because you see so many different data points of like, all right, especially if you've done it over cycles, you get to know who works out well and who doesn't. This is why venture capital, especially, is people get to pinpoint like, hey, what's a founder that works well? Well, it's someone that knows their domain space and is someone that um, is, has a technical background, but they're all in as well. Like, and they've done it before. Sorry, and they've done it before. That's a very
That's a
famous.
big piece, right? They're not going to
Yeah.
babysit every decision you make because they know the process.
So Y Combinator is one of the ones that has a lot of data on this. They've studied founders. They've done like 4,000 different founders that they've put money into. So those are the key ones. Also, they notice that a single founder isn't as good as 2 or 3, and 4 doesn't
No
work.
way.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. So
Why do you think that is? Do you know like
Yeah.
what's the psychology there?
I think it's like you need an outlet. People that are in a community of thought and experience with you, they're going through the same shit you're going through. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if you're single by yourself, you go stir crazy and you can't. There's no one to really outlet to, and that's
The
why
echo
even
chamber
Jesus.
idea, where you're just hearing yourself talk, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like how much can you talk to your wife about what's going on? You don't. You get to the point where or your spouse, and you just don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about work anymore. But the people that
Yeah.
you work with, you're in community of thought with
You're
them.
down.
You're sharing
No.
shit. And
Mm.
just like Jesus said, Jesus sent the disciples out in pairs of 2. It's ancient wisdom, you know what I'm saying? And divine
Yeah.
wisdom.
Dan, you're
So,
such you're an eloquent speaker, and the way you like, obviously you're an intelligent guy, but just now that this is our second chance to really get to talk to you, I love the way you phrase and say things. You're not using words that are intentionally big to like big show, but you have a way of using the right words that paint the picture emotionally and mentally instead of you're just hearing you speak. It's really cool, man.
I appreciate that. One thing I'm trying to do nowadays more than ever is like, the whole um, world is trying to zig, right? Like, oh, AI driven content, like that's all bullshit. So I'm trying to zag even more, where I talk more human, I write more
Yeah.
human. You know, I just I try to say things that jar people into just being like, oh, what was that?
Stimulate
You didn't.
thought, brother, right? Like get thinking,
Mhm.
get people being uncomfortable.
100%. So,
AI driven content is so fucking horrible.
oh,
Honestly.
so bad.
It's so, you know what it is? It's content that describes your products and services. Why the fuck does the industry want to hear about your products and services? You know what I mean? The industry doesn't want to hear about that. They want to see these faces. They want to learn about the people behind the brand. They want to hear us communicate that, because the reason why no
Right.
one does business with anyone is there's 2 reasons. They don't fucking trust you, or your product shit. One of the two. That's it. There's no other reason why someone wouldn't do business with you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
Like
trust.
price, all that good stuff, it comes under product. It's trust or product, man. That's it.
100%. Yeah.
And for the most part, we all understand what each other's products are. It takes a 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch, right? And you can understand what a product is. It's trust, brother. So I resonate with what you said, Dan, because you are very, very vocal on LinkedIn, and you share a lot about your
Oh my God.
family,
And you're so authentic.
and you're so authentic. And I've seen there's other employees of Northpoint now that are walking in your footsteps. So not only are you inspiring, but you're trend setting, which is huge.
Mhm.
And I admire that, bro. Good on you, man. Let's fucking go.
Appreciate you. Good on you,
Let's get
mate.
it. Good on
Yeah,
you,
good on you,
mate.
mate.
Let's get
I have an
it. Let's
Australian
get
neighbor,
it.
so he told me, "Good on you, mate." Anyway, so
His accent's fake, Dan, just so you know. He is not
yeah, it's
Australian.
I
This
got a
is
100%.
a
thought,
whole
yeah.
yeah,
He's
this
from,
is just a stick, like a stick that he does or whatever you call
It's
it.
a
And yeah,
CNN hoax.
yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
cry for
Oh,
fake
attention.
news. Let's investigate Pat Osman.
yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
glorious. So yeah,
That's
that was
funny.
a good that whole trade was, let's say, 17,000 apartments, very heavily focused on Florida, Texas. So our first.
Did you flip those for sale, or did you keep them? Did you have a management company going at the same time? I don't know if
Oh,
you've
good.
already.
Yeah, good point. We were vertically integrated, so we were an owner operator.
Wow.
And yeah, so we had to build the real estate private equity arm in addition to the real estate operating arm, and they kind of like work together to go
Dude, that's no
do these
joke.
deals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's next level.
it was a lot. And I was just blessed to be part of it and to see it from the ground up. Not from actual day one, but like from really when it started. becoming a thing where it's beyond two people. You know, I really was there from almost that very moment where it started branching out and creating departments and, you know, doing all that gritty work of creating your business. So one lesson I have and learning is you guys are both founder types, but a lot of people that join big companies and have only been in big companies, they are like the fish in water. They're like, what is the water? You know, they don't even know the bureaucracy that they're swimming in. The
It just
levels.
feels like what they're used to, man. It should
Yeah,
take,
dude.
17 different emails to get something done. Oh, that's great, because it only took me 16 before. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, not just that, but like when they go to a startup kind of deal, they're like, where's the HR? Where's the talent acquisition?
Right.
Where's all this accounting support? They're swimming in bureaucratic help. And none of it is stuff that they built personally. So then you're like, hey, just go build it yourself. And they
Right.
don't even know where to start because they don't have that founder mentality to go and just create something from nothing. They're used to swimming in the water, you
Yeah.
know? And that's why a lot of times, like when I've hired in the past, executives that are very high level, it didn't work out well because they can't pivot back to that early phase of their career, or they've never been in a startup, so they've only been in big companies. So I learned that lesson pretty hard.
It's like they
And
forget what got them to where they're at, and I agree with you on this totally, because I've been part of some very big companies, some of the biggest, and you, boy, you just see that it's like I could write this script. I know what's about to happen because they're so entrenched in how they think things are supposed to be done, because that's the way it was done, that they can't make a simple decision and pivot, like you said, because it's not what they're used to doing. And
yeah,
if you and they're so afraid to, because I think too, when they get to that level, they don't want to rock the boat, man, because they're like, I'm pretty cushy now. I got my gig. I know what I do. I'm good at it. I've, established myself. And to go innovate or to shake it up and break the system, that requires a lot of work. That requires your intention to be there for those late nights and those early mornings. Not everybody wants to do it, man.
totally. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And the only other thing I'll add there is that a lot of folks higher up, they get used to being reactive. Like
Yeah.
people bring them problems and they put the thumb on the scale. They're like, "Oh, go this way versus that way." A lot of it's nudging behaviors. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, when you're at the ground level of building something brand new, you are really in proactive mode all the time. You're always like taking the hill. Every day you take the hill.
Yep.
So that's those are the lessons I learned by being part of that team that was really in the strategy of every single iteration of that firm. I was
It's
so blessed to
exciting.
see it all. Yeah, we called it Stratter Days, and it was insane. Like we would all show up at like 7 a.m., get some like bunch of coffee and some like breakfast things, and the founder of the firm, Pete, he would fly in like these really high end executive leaders from that were we were kind of vetting them to maybe join our firm, get some gray hair. So we would have them in the front of the room, and this whole group of like young, 28 to 32-year-olds is kind of like blasting them with questions like, why did you do this? What did you do that?
Yeah.
What kind of
That's
comp program?
amazing, bro.
Well, how'd you build this? Why did you do talent this way? Why did you, tell me about your acquisition team. What kind of deals did you do? Which ones worked out? Which ones didn't? Where's your capital? All kinds of stuff. So we did that every single Saturday, so and eventually you break up at like 3 or 4, and you just keep working. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the kind of stuff I grew up in. So when I came into real estate, I had like this. I already had my crash course in the very like gross, disgusting like
Yeah.
part of ops, and then I had my crash course and like, well, here's professional asset
Right.
and property management and buy side acquisitions. Like I saw the whole stack, and so that was super fun, and I love that stuff, man.
So
Sign me up for that every day.
that vision to bring people in for that, like you said, it's Peter or Pete, I can't, your partner at the time.
Yeah.
Where did that come from him? What was his way back background like? Because that doesn't just happen, I don't think, for people to have that. First of all, to spend the money, have the vision, set it up, create the framework around where everybody's bought into it too. That's the hardest part.
Of course.
Yeah, right. To motivate enough of these people that no one misses Saturday, because it would be
Right.
like you get ostracized and be like, what?
Yeah.
You're not doing it,
Yeah.
unless
What's
you're
wrong
out,
with
like,
you?
out of town. You're there. Everyone was there and dialed in, not messing around. Having fun, but not messing around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know? How did he do? I don't know, man. He's a special dude, different dude. Um, you look him up on LinkedIn, Peter Rex, and just genius at certain things. Genius at company building. Indefatigable.
Is that company still alive
Yep.
and property management still running? Yeah. Like have you
Right.
shared the name? Can you share the name of the company? I don't know that we've even
Yeah,
talked about it.
definitely, definitely. And let me bring you through the whole the whole
Okay.
thing. We're taking our time through this journey. It's fun.
I love
We're
it. There
going
might be
on.
a third episode. You never know.
Let's do it. Run it back one more time. Well, it might be four. No, but
Yeah,
look,
let's go.
Me and Phil keep interrupting this poor man's story.
Oh,
no,
it's
it's
so
cool.
good
Like,
though.
this stuff I don't always talk about. Like, I haven't mentioned the word strategy in 10 years. But
That's awesome.
the way it emerged was that we grew fast, right? We had all this discretionary capital. We were the broker's best friends because no one else was buying deals when we started off, right? We were in a part of the cycle where it was very quiet. Eventually, it became more crowded, right? As capital poured back into that trade, it became more crowded and more competitive. But so we grew up 17,000 doors. Pete, the founder, was CEO, and I became CEO in 2016. So I joined in late 2011. I became CEO in 2016. It was never mapped out that way. It was just like, his brother had joined the business and who was our other early business partner. We had Harvard Law School people, many of them, maybe 5 or 6, and many of whom were on the exec team. And we had a Princeton guy who was our CIO. I just emerged from this team that Pete built and became CEO, and I kept it charging forward. So when I took over, it was about $1 billion AUM. We took it to $2 billion between
Jeez.
2016 and 2019. And then,
3 years, you doubled?
yeah, 3 years we doubled. Yeah.
Wow, that's
And then,
huge.
in 2019, we had a big strategy session and we started seeing the writing on the wall, which was when you're on the buy side, what deals, all the deal flow in your markets, right? We had a great team. And we knew that we just weren't winning deals because all this like Johnny come lately capital flows in because they see like now the trade is 8 years into the making of it. Like, right, we started the trade in 2010, 11. Pete started it. By 2019, a lot of that play is crowded out. So you can't get the same deals we were buying back then. So almost overnight, we decided to become net sellers. We sold about 80% of our portfolio, deal by deal. It was not a portfolio sale. So it took many years to actually complete, which is its own transaction and executions. People think about real estate, they think about buy side, they don't think about dispo. Dispo is its own beast, you know? So we sold 80% of the portfolio, and by 2021, that was kind of done. By 2020, we knew that the trough of how many units we were going to manage was about 2,500 units, which if
Wow.
you're a property management business, you're going to die in multifamily.
Yeah.
It's not big enough to be a going concern. Like,
Yeah.
you can't really run that thing well if you want national scale. People just, they leave because they don't see opportunity, right? Property management is different from real estate acquisitions and private equity because in that space, it's sexy. It's like everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to be part of the deal team someday. I'm going to get points in deals. There's a lot of more capital and more
Yep.
available money. So property management, we decided to rebuild um, our team to kind of like picture the property management that's trapped inside of a vertically integrated team. And now that property management team got retooled to become a third party provider, right?
Nice.
So we
Okay,
pivoted.
so you created a new vertical within that company to then grow it.
Yeah. So
Wow.
by 21, we had executed that. And by 24, we went from 2,500 doors to 18,000 doors.
Again?
Yeah. Yeah.
On the
That,
on the
And
third party management
that's
side,
on the
just
third
on
party
3PL.
management side.
pure management. Yeah. At that point,
Wow.
we weren't buying deals. We were just growing up pure third party management, which is a really good clip. That's a good clip.
That's huge, bro.
And then
No wonder
during,
why Northpoint
So
wants you.
so hold on, stop right there. Like you say this jokingly. Do you realize that just doesn't happen? I've been around this side on the multifamily real estate business for 25 years. And I've watched, all these companies go from a few thousand units, hundreds of units, few thousand. And I still know guys that have been doing this forever that are at 10,000, 12,000. Like to get to that level was like the stratosphere. And you're talking about, taking 2,500 units to 18,000 in 3 years or whatever the time frame is.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, 3 or
compressed,
4 years. Yeah.
very effective, profitable timelines. Like I hope you realize that this is unbelievable. Like there are people listening to this going, oh shit, Dan, I got to call you because I got 2,500 units. I want 18,000. Let's make it happen. I got 4 years to burn. It's
Yeah, no,
crazy.
for sure. No, I appreciate it. Look, we built an amazing team. It's like outstanding team. That's why when I left, I was actually able to leave, and it kept growing. So now I think the team is called Res Prop Management. So we
Oh,
rebranded it once we kind of pivoted and became a third party provider. Now, so it's called Res Prop Management. It's in 5 states now. When I left, I think we're in 3. Um, and I'm very proud that it kept growing. So, and the team is great. I mean, credit to the team. It's credit, first of all, to I inherited a leadership team when I became CEO, right? So when I took it from $1 billion to $2 billion, a lot of that team Pete had built. And then when I became CEO, when we pivoted the real estate property management business, we had homegrown a lot of our talent through a training program. And they were the product of a lot of people mentoring them, coaching them, not just me. So that to me is like the key. That's one thing I love is that we had such a long-term perspective at that business that the people that run the firm now have been with the firm for 10, 11 years, which you don't hear about that much, you know, just the longevity of people in property management. People trade in and out of deals a lot.
oh, it's such an ancestral business too. The turnover and pulling this regional manager from here and moving them here, and yeah,
Exactly.
it's a tough business.
Yeah. So, and it just became a time. And oh, by the way, along the way, we launched 10 real estate technology companies. That's why Pete had sort of become executive chairman of the business and was no longer CEO, because he started focusing on incubating and launching and being the seed capital behind 10 real estate tech companies. So
So
I know
only 10 though. I feel like you're sort of an underachiever. I mean, I don't know.
What
You kind of
happened with
had me
those?
going. I'm like thinking Dan's a big deal, and this Peter guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. But then you said 10. I don't know. People are
What
just think
happened
you're
with
an
those 10?
underachiever.
Were they successful? Were they all exited? Where are
no
they
that
at today?
well yes I mean it's a complicated story. The story is still being written, let's put it that way, but they're all still alive, which is crazy. So if you look up rex.com, you can go check them out, but that's what you want, right? Like when they used to say
Which
like,
one of those 10 hasn't taken off? And then you and I are going to cut a deal right now.
Here comes Pat.
well, let's go offline. I mean, yeah, there's deals to be had.
I love it.
We'll
Oh,
go get
Pat!
deals.
100
Pat just met the
100%.
politician. There's the
Yeah, no doubt, no
politician
doubt.
answering Pat, the hungry deal guy. This is amazing.
Now
Yeah,
look,
bro. Let's go.
what you want,
Rex.com.
is someone like Pete. He's never gonna give
Yeah.
up. He's never gonna give up. Like it could be
Did
there
you
and
say,
down.
is that Rex.com on the website right now? Is that it?
Rex.com, yeah.
Peter Rex. What a legend, bro. Proven
Yeah.
entrepreneur who leads with millionaire zeal and no nonsense profit focused business practices. God bless, bro. This is your business partner. Wow.
Yeah, so I look, when a lot of people think they know tech, I know real estate tech fairly well. I was second chair to a lot of that, the thinking, the early hiring, the product management, or the let's say user research, user testing, product management. I knew a lot of that stuff because we were
One
using
sec, you got
those.
look at these startups, bro. You got Tenant Port, ID Core, Own Prop, Insure Pro, Bill Route, Get Done, Pay Up, Proof Up, Cred Build, Job Call. Are these the companies you're talking about?
Yeah,
Fuck, come on. There's so many deals you can cut here, bro.
let's go.
Bro, there is a lot. Are they all Pete's companies?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm an LP. I'm a major LP in them. So let's make some deals. But that's what when you talk about partnership, that's
What are you
another thing.
doing, bro? Why haven't you brought this up to me like ages ago?
There's a lot to talk about. We're trying to make deals in every other thing we're doing, right?
This is so fun to watch.
Let's do it all. But when you talk about partnership, that's what I mean by I wanted to be the world's greatest partner. That was my goal, was to be the most
I
loyal.
love that.
Hold on. I want to say something. This is so funny. So this whole conversation right now, watching Pat react to this, I literally just had this at lunch today. I'm sitting at Houston's at the counter, and the Houston's, or sorry, it's Hillstone here. The Hillstone here, there's a lot of who's who that pops in and out of there in Phoenix, right? A lot of the real estate guys. Today there just happened to be 3 different billionaires sitting at 3 different spots that I know, right? And so I'm like, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that guy. They're all billionaires, right? The guy to my left, I'm sitting right next to them, and some guy to him they're chatting it up, right? And I sat down, I said hi to Artie, and like just that kind of deal because they're in a conversation, and I thought they knew this third guy, and I realized pretty quickly they didn't, but they're just having this really neat conversation, and the guy's just telling Artie, yeah, I'm a baseball guy. I really love baseball. And it wasn't contrived. He was just, this was the topic of the conversation. And I'm into this. I grew up in New Jersey. And the guy brings up Mike Trout. And, so he's just telling these 2 guys next to me about how much he loves baseball and it's his heart and soul, but this is my business. It's so fun. And the guy goes, well, what's your name? The guy goes, Carl. And he goes, well, I'm Artie, and introduces his other partner. And he goes, you said you're into baseball too, Artie. What do you do? And he goes, well, I own the Angels. It's Artie Moreno that this guy's talking to, and he doesn't realize it. And it was so, and I kind of laughed. I looked at Artie and I go, that doesn't happen very often, does it? And he's like, no. And it was really neat because it was so genuine and authentic that this guy next to him was just talking about this love of baseball to another guy who just happens to own the team. And the other guy, his partner, was there as well, Artie's partner. And it was just this really genuine, like, oh, and I watched the guy's face go, oh shit. Like, and then he starts going through his mind of, what have I said for the last 20 minutes? I hope I didn't say I owned a baseball team too or something. Yeah. So it's this connection that you 2 are making right here. That's what reminded me of it, was just like this, cool. It didn't start off with, let's put a deal, let's figure this. But now you 2 are going, hey, we both got the pedigree, baby. Let's go. Let's figure out how this is going to work.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. So everything sounds easy when you say it, but behind all that is like,
it's simple. It's not easy.
Fucking mountains, bro. Mountains, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Simple, not easy.
Insane things that we went through. And, we knew we're biting off a lot, but when you have a very long-term approach and you look at the thing like an ecosystem, that's how we were looking at it. Was you have real estate investment, real estate operations, real estate tech. They can synergize like Bezos did with the flywheel effect with Amazon Prime, right? Prime became a massive flywheel for them. And then eventually out of that popped out AWS too. But really, when you think of things as an ecosystem, you can have this kind of virtuous cycle or whatever, the flywheel happening and taking hold. So when you build better tech and you're separate companies, right? These are separate companies. But when your real estate operating company uses the tech better than other people, they're going to gain market share over time because they're more tech enabled, right? They're going to have
So
better.
is North E intending on driving Northpoint in that direction?
No, hell no.
Okay.
No way. I posted about this today, actually. I
Okay.
think people, and there's someone in the industry that I was actually thinking about when I was posting. I think they're insane. So first of all, ResProp itself never built its own tech. Those were separate businesses, capitalized separately, right?
Yeah.
So no, I think anyone that builds in-house tech in 2026 needs to have their head examined.
Okay.
They don't know, they don't understand how real estate tech really emerges, how it works, and what the costs are. So example, I posted this today. AppFolio, which is what we use, their R&D for 2023, 2024 was $150 million, both years. So how is your small little rinky-dink, onshore guys that are just flying around and just plug in, and they're 5 to 10 engineers are going to build a mobile app that's going to compete with AppFolio, who's spending $150 million, and they have customer feedback loops from thousands, tens of
Everyone.
thousands of
Yeah.
customers. Like, dude, your focus is off, and I know I'm going to beat you. That's why I'm coming for the crown. And North coming for the crown. We're coming for it, man. It's coming. I don't know if people can hear. It's like the Bigfoot in the woods, man. We're coming for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real. The steps are gonna get bigger and bigger, and they're gonna hear it more. But we're coming for it because we have massive focus. We know what it takes.
How did you get your role with Northpoint?
I had
Sorry,
a good.
Phil.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. I'm loving this. Sorry.
I had a good equation with I got introduced to their capital partner, our capital partner, and their name is LP First Capital. They're based in Austin, Texas. So they recapitalized the business about 2 years ago, and they're a private equity, what's called an independent sponsor. They don't have a fund that they operate out of, but they go invest in these different platforms. And during my year kind of between different things where I left the Rex ecosystem and ResProp. I left amicably. That's my boy still. I'm still partnering all the stuff and LP and many different things across that ecosystem. But it's time for me to like spread my wings, do my own thing. And in that year, I was talking to a lot of PE shops that were targeting mostly multifamily space to consolidate. And that was very interesting to me. So I kind of picked up on that thread and I got connected to LP First because my buddy was like, hey, you should talk to LP First. And so I hit it off with them. They connected me to Adam Halleck, who you guys both know, and became a consultant. Yeah, that was it. Consulted for about a month and a half and then joined. So, because I saw a big,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
Mm.
it shows you the power of being active too, and just having things that you're interested in and doing and adding value and just creating
From
relationships,
mayor to mogul.
you
Look at
know?
him go.
That's
All right.
yeah,
It's a
from
fucking
small town mayor to
Yeah.
mogul.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
I
no,
love
not
that.
nowhere near mogul yet, guys. I'm still grinding, you know. So, like, and even if I
Okay,
had like
dude.
walk away, you know, forever money, I would still be grinding. I don't care.
Adam, you know, sorry, no, I was Adam. Daniel, brother. Look, if you're ever in Dallas, my house is open to you. You can choose any floor that you want in any room. You can sleep on whatever floor you want. I got carpets, I have floorboards, I got the attic space, 2x4s,
He'll even give you
whatever
a
you want,
mattress
brother.
with a sheet on it. Yeah.
I can even
he's
get
a
your
big
closet. Thank you, man. Thank you. Closet.
deal. So Dan,
I'm joking, man. I love you, man.
Me
I
too,
love
and
you a
I'll
lot.
I want to
come
share
through.
this with you too. Like,
I'd love to sleep on your floor, brother.
yeah, right.
Anytime, yeah.
Not that you need to hear this from me, but, and again, I just like to tie things. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Sorry, it was Sunday after yoga. And I won't say his name, but I'll tell you offline. And just because I want it to have more weight. But he's a very established real estate guy, very successful. And the story that you're telling me, because I've known this guy for 25 years, is the exact same story I've watched him do for 25 years to build his $3 billion net worth real estate empire, right? And the thing we were talking about on Sunday after yoga was that insatiable desire to create opportunities, not to close deals and make money, but just to be in the fight. And this is a guy that has the FU money, doesn't need to work, but just started another company. Pat's met him, just started another little company because he's been watching it for 10 years. That was his due diligence period. For 10 years, he's been watching this thing on the side that's ancillary to his real money. And he's like, I just leaned into this and just signed a deal with Walmart, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to probably be bigger than anything he's ever done before because he just
Literally.
has that desire to just be in the fight and be making stuff happen, not just for himself, but for others too. Like, and we didn't get to touch on this, and this will be number 3 of the episode is think of all the lives that you've touched outside of your own and your
Oh my
family
God.
with all of these businesses, the startups, the education that you've given to folks internally by showing up the way you do. That's the real gift to everybody is who you are as an entrepreneur and the lives you've touched as a result of that. But man, you know, you are exactly what I've watched this guy do for the last 25 years. And man, I'm excited to see the next 20 with you.
Massive compliment. I appreciate you, man. And you know, just one foot in front of the other. And
That's it.
I
Stay in the
like
fight, brother. Put yourself in the fight. That's
it.
all you can do.
And just stay humble. And I love the Bezos quote. It's step by step, ferociously.
Yep.
You know, every single step. So, no, there's a
I
lot.
love that, man. What advice do you have for a future for? There's a lot of property management companies out there that are sitting at $500, $1,000, $5,000, and obviously they want to grow, they want to scale.
Mhm.
You've taken, you know, portfolios from 2,000 to 17,000. You've doubled them overnight, not overnight, over a 2 to 3 year period. What advice do you have for those founders, for those companies?
Just partner with Northpoint. Get it over with. Just reeking up your company and sell.
What makes Northpoint different, brother? What is it about Northpoint?
You're looking at it.
I, you know, when you're an operator, it's all people. I mean, straight up, it's just it's people. And I think we're assembling a new approach to SFR in addition to the best people. So we're in a fight for talent, right? We have the team, I think, with the most talent density always wins. So we're sampling that. The talent density is crazy. I was just texting you guys over the weekend about some talent. And dude, we texted her on Saturday. She had an offer letter on Sunday, and she signed today. That's how quick we're moving.
Wow,
Like,
that's
and
amazing.
she's top notch. I mean, she was at your dinner, so credit to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
For
so excited about that because
bringing
she
together
was
good people.
she was cool. And I knew
Yeah.
there was more to there's more to scratch the surface there, but we got that dinner, only
Yeah.
that time at that dinner. I'm like, this is a little wildcat. She knows what she's doing.
Forward. Yeah, she's super sharp and switched on and grit and all the things you want. So thank you guys for bringing that together. And so talent density is number one, but number two, I think SFR, from what I've seen, guys, and when I entered the space, I tried to ask like the people that I reached out and was like, whoever's the most knowledgeable about SFR, could you please talk to me? And I had a lot of great conversations with like hitters, and almost everyone said to the person, they said it's the Wild West. By the fifth time I
Yes.
heard that, I was like, wait, what? This sounds crazy. Like, it's the Wild West. It still is. It's virgin territory. It's the western part of the US in the 1840s. Like, it has not been, there's no real trails set up yet.
We were calling it the gold rush. Like this is
Yeah.
like, we're prospecting into the gold rush, or when cell phones were invented, right?
Yeah,
This is a whole
exactly.
new thing that nobody knows how big it's going to get, and it's insane what it's going to do.
Right, and which makes sense because multifamily as an asset class has had decades ahead of SFR.
Since the
It's been
80s, yeah.
professionalized for many decades. So the scaffolding of talent, I always like to think about that. Like, I read a bio on Trammell Crow from Dallas. You should try to read one of those one day, Patrick. It's fascinating. Like him and his team built so much of Dallas. But
No
anyway,
way.
yeah, Trammell Crow. So Trammell Crow then became Trammell Crow Residential, and then Lincoln spun out of that, and other firms,
Yep.
huge, massive firms like it. So this scaffolding took
Wow.
place, and that talent just like decades of knowing how to run those deals super well. And now we're in a
Mhm.
moment where actually some of that talent has 10 years in the business, 15 years,
Yep.
and then technology as a like a horizontal enabling layer on top of that talent. It's changing how people can do business. It's like before AWS, becoming a startup was very difficult because you'd have to spend a lot of your time just figuring out
100%.
what do you do with the cloud, and what do you do, or do you do on-prem, or what do you do? So now the startup cost of doing something went way down, so you have more startups, right?
Yeah.
The same thing is happening with the enabling layer of AI and better tech. We can run scattered site in a way that's way better than what you could do even 2 years ago. So we're meeting our moment. We're assembling the Avengers. We're gonna kill it.
So great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had the vision, right? The vision and the story was there, but that's what it was, a story and a vision. Like, this can work. Bullshit. Prove it. Now you've proven it. Now the tools are being developed to make it scalable and hyper scalable.
Yeah.
Those 16 million rental units. I don't know if we have enough time to hit this, or we can catch it on episode 3, which we now know is coming, because we could talk for
Oh, it's
hours with
definitely
you.
coming. Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's coming out from the administration right now with, Trump announcing that he wants to, close down institutional companies from buying and, scattered sites and all that. That's something I think we've got to talk about maybe in the next episode, of what that really means, what that means to our industry, and how to approach that, because it's still, even if that were to happen, worst case scenario, in my opinion, the industry is still going to pivot around and figure out a way to make this work, because it's filling a need that Americans have. It's not just a cash grab, right? Did I say that okay?
Yeah, you killed it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's complete. It's election year pandering.
Thank you.
Quite frankly, I mean, it's taking a left-leaning topic off the table for them, and I don't think it's ever going to be codified by Congress. So it's just really a talking point at this point,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it's beating up on a very easy like target, which is Wall Street. Let's go beat up on
Low
Wall
hanging fruit, dogma, Wall
Street.
Street bad, independent good.
It makes
Right.
it makes zero sense actually, and I posted about this the other day. It's like, because rental or affordability, housing affordability, not just rental, but being able to buy your own home that we talked about earlier. The institutional ownership is in really specific markets, It does not really extend to the West Coast much at all, and to the
That's right.
Northeast at all. And that's where some of the most severe housing affordability crisis is, because they're not
Completely.
building homes. So it's actually a supply side problem. What we need is a Manhattan Project to go handle supply side, deregulate, get out
There it
of
is.
builders' ways, because we're missing about 5 to 7 million SFR homes in the marketplace. That's insane. So Trump needs to get those regulations out of the way if he can, or open up federal lands, because then there's no state environmental crap that can
Do you
come in.
think that this could be an indirect injection in BTR?
Yeah, it's a good point. Definitely.
Yeah, with Pulte in the mix there, right? Like maybe this is the roundabout play to help the home builders, really. But I think to your point, Dan, it's sort of dogma, if that's the right term. Like it's virtue signaling a little on the affordability, and like you said, it's an
Yep.
election year. There's stuff coming up that it's like, hey, I can say this. It gets a big headline. It gets part of the voting base to say, hey, you care about us, and then the reality of making it actually happen to the level that would impact our industry and hurt these companies is so mass, that lift is so big that it's never going to come to fruition. There might be some
Right.
tweaks and changes and some stuff that happens, but it's not going to be what everybody when that headline came out, it was like the end of SFR.
Yeah,
That's just not happening, brother.
Oh my God. Fucking
Yeah,
everyone was
totally.
freaking out. I was like,
I got
"Can you
so many
get
texts,
calm
right?
down?"
Like, oh
Oh,
my
and I was
God,
like, you know
what are we
what?
gonna do?
None of you fuckers have purchased a house in the last 1 year anyway. So just
Yeah.
take a seat. You know what I
Right.
mean? The
You're infecting
interest rates are through
yourself.
the roof. No one
That's
has
right.
purchased anything. You just
For
relax.
2 years,
right?
no, like scattered site buying, but the big five has stopped. They
Yeah.
haven't. I don't think they've bought homes
Where
in 2
we
years.
should push back, by the way, is to say that institutional or professionalized property management, let's just call it that, that's actually a good thing for renters
Of
everywhere.
course it is.
And that's another reason why I'm passionate about the mission of Northpoint, is to elevate the entire industry.
That's it.
So, because the gap between the lead performer and the median is always going to be constant. So when the lead performer goes up, the gap actually is going to
You pull the bottom up with you.
Considering
Yeah.
your experience in politics and what the NRHC is trying to do, why are you personally not involved more in the NRHC?
I need to clone myself and just get more time in my day.
It's
I have to
time.
do more business deals with you too. So why am I not doing all? Like, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
roll me.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
It just comes down to priorities, right, and where you're at.
I think so. Yeah, I
Yep.
would love to. Actually, I talked to Gregory Frank yesterday. Had a great conversation with him, and talking about maybe doing a white paper together with Ever Rising Media. And I think there's opportunity. We can do it, and we should have a voice. Like when Trump says corporations don't live in homes, people do. That's true, but those people need to be served by good, professionalized management that's going to actually give them opportunities to live in good school districts,
100%.
safe neighborhoods. That's what institutional capital has unlocked for people. And not everyone should be a homeowner, like we talked about. So
Drive through any neighborhood that has different rentals in it, right? There's home ownership, and then there's, the rental homes, and you can tell which ones are AMH, Tricon, properly managed, right? The companies like yours, because they're the ones where the lawns look good, the paint's nice, not that mom and pop landlords are bad. It's just there's more resources and attention to the machine and the operation, and those homes stand out, and that's what you want. And so, yeah, it really is a demonizing the Wall Street over what they're actually doing. Because and to your point, talking to any of the leaders of these companies, they're not out there to push their thumb on the little guy and just make money. It's people before profits is what I've heard consistently from most of these companies. And they're creating the systems and the availability for people to have that home, that feel of home ownership and family when they
Right.
can't afford it. That's it.
Hey, man, bro. I mean,
Boys,
one last.
I got a strict 3 p.m. I just want to let you guys know that in about 5 minutes, I'm out of this one.
Yeah, we're gonna have a part. This is a part 3, brother. This is super exciting.
Oh, bro, it's Daniel French. He's a brother.
Dude, you're a machine.
It doesn't stop.
let's leave
Might
him.
be between 3 hats from now
Oh,
on.
100%. Pretty soon, hey, Pat, pretty soon he's going to buy our platform. We'll be working for him is what's going to happen. Yeah, little do we know, this is a hostile takeover. Yeah. Oh, my God, I love it.
Dude, the other thing about SFR, by the way, is that it's a more conflicted space when it comes to property management and ownership, much more so than multifamily. And I can explain that. So I think the most owner obsessed property management company is going to win market share. And if we can get into more alignment with our fees and the structure of how we do
One
things.
moment. Owner obsessed or resident obsessed?
Owner.
Why?
I've been down this rabbit hole a billion times. The resident is a key end user. The
Yes.
owner's key customer. So you have to
Okay.
optimize to the ownership.
Okay.
Every
Interesting.
time. Yeah.
I love that you just said that. I'm not going to share why. When you press the stop recording button, I'll share why. But I love that you just said that, my brother. I'm going to pick
Yeah.
your brain on that real quick. Can
I've
we cut
had
the
that
recording, actually? I want
Pretty
to ask you a question now.
Is that our stopping point?
I don't know, is that mic drop? But
Yeah.
the conflicted thing is mostly around maintenance. And this is where once someone solves maintenance, and we're actively working on it, we have some really interesting ideas that I can't share because bad boys move in silence, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We have to solve maintenance because in multifamily you have a captive payroll spend that is on the asset level P&L. It's a pass through. So and it goes so that maintenance labor cost is already known to owners, and it's kind of a fixed cost, right? In SFR scattered site, BTR made it a little bit different, but in SFR scattered site, when you roll the truck and get a maintenance person there or a vendor, it's conflicted because all the PM shops are trying to make money on that transaction, right? So, and that can get really out of hand. So there's a meme thing that we had coming up that we were ideating on called the nemesis of Northpoint is called Southpoint. And we're gonna have like this whole meme thing of like the industry, the bad part of the industry is Southpoint, like banging owners for costs like $5,000 to change a light switch, stuff like that. Funny stuff, but it's
Oh, I
true.
love it.
There's a lot of problems with the SFR space that we're trying to solve.
Hey, bro, the people that change the game are the people that revolutionize and that are remembered, man. So I can't wait for you guys to do that, and we can't wait to be a part of that journey with you.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, so fun. I assume we're kind of wrapping up here. Part 3 is coming soon, though. So
Oh my God, 100! It's already written. I think we're already scheduling with Anahi right now. This was fun.
You know what I'm down for? To just keep going.
I know, right? Let's give Rogan a run for his money. Let's get a 4-hour pod. We could do
Daniel French.
Probably our
Daniel
first
French.
guest, Dan, that we could talk to for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I can too. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to wrap up this recording, listeners. Thank you so much. And it looks like French will be coming back for a 3rd episode. So let's catch you guys then.